Gosh. Oh my gosh. So my mic was muted. This has just been a day of craziness here. Um, I don't even really know what to do. I spoke to my wife last night about having an episode that totally crashed and burned, and I think today it happened because I spoke about it. Right, I manifested this. So what an awful train wreck of a show. First, Facebook kicks me. Then you guys don't get any audio through the first of the two stories that we have of the day. It is truly amazing what is going on here. Yeah, right. I don't even really know what to do. So here's what we're gonna do, folks. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna move on to a couple more stories here. This show is just going to be a crazy disjointed show. If you're just now hearing me because the sound was muted, I'm so sorry. Once again, it's just been a nightmare of a morning. As far I prepped last night, everything was good to go. The first story that we had, let me go back to our main screen here, okay? Let me transition back, okay? The first story that we had was a story about legal recreational marijuana, and it's about how it could bring huge revenue into the state. It's this story right here. It's out of WESH2 out of Orlando. Go catch the story. It's on my Facebook feed. I'm not going to go back over it and waste everyone's time because this has truly been a nightmare. It just basically goes into and talks about how the economists here in Florida think that obviously recreational marijuana is going to be huge. I do too. I totally agree with it. I've said for a long time that we are a destination state, a year-round destination state. So, just like California, we can have people here year-round, and that's going to bring a ton of tourist dollars into the state. So why not just make Florida, the Amsterdam of the West, right? That's kind of my thought process here, my belief. And then, let's see here. We went into this story right here. This was the jurors' revolt. They refused to consider felony charges for cannabis. This guy basically is a waiter at a restaurant out in Louisiana. You can also see this story. Let me put it up here. You can also see this story on my Facebook page. The jurors essentially in this case decided that they were, not only not going to support a felony charge against this guy, but they were going to speak out about just how bad they thought the marijuana laws were in Louisiana. And since you couldn't hear any of my diatribe on that and really cool, commentary, I'm going to say go ahead, go catch that story at Facebook on my page. Sorry, once again, train wreck of a show. Go catch that on my page. You can check that out. And above all else, also comment there. It's where we're going to get a good chance to engage about this socially. And my final thought on that is, if you're going to smoke pot, just stay out of Louisiana. It's not good for anybody, it doesn't seem. This guy here that's in this chart was facing, 10 or 15 to 20 years in prison for an ounce of marijuana. Another guy in the story had gotten 13 years in prison for 2 joints. So go check that story out. It's outrageous. Yeah, Maria, I can't go through and repeat it. I'm so sorry. It's just, oh my gosh, it's been a nightmare this morning. It's not been a fun one, folks. We're gonna cruise on though. We're gonna soldier on because you know what? Here's my thing. Facebook kicked me. I screwed it up by muting me. It can't get any worse than this, right? So we can only go up. So let's go up together. Let's rip this bowl, right? I think I'm going to be done with the bowl before we even get to the review, but that might be a good thing today. I brought a couple extra stories to keep you guys here today because, you know what? I guess I kind of knew deep down that something was going to happen. It was about time, right? Let's rip them. Cheers. Alrighty then. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to get to this next story. All right, and this was an interesting situation for me today because this next story, I couldn't even bring this story up on my production program because it just kept running this video in the background. So every single time I turned the screen on, it ran this video without me wanting it to. But the next story here we're going to talk about is it's entitled, hold on, let me get it up. The next story here is entitled, Pinellas County School Board approves plan to establish medical marijuana policy.
Studies concerning marijuana's possibly harmful effects have been made, although they're not yet conclusive. But some facts are known. Some effects have been established. There are apparently few physical manifestations, a reddening of the eyes, lowered body temperature, and a certain inability to coordinate movement. But there are other effects, psychological effects. The marijuana user generally experiences an uncontrollable feeling of hilarity, quite without reason. He exhibits a marked carelessness. His senses and time perception are distorted. He becomes confused, and he displays irresponsibility and poor judgment. And prolonged use may result in a loss of ambitious respect, the induced couldn't care less attitude.
Right, propaganda. Here we go. It's the propaganda machine, everybody. I mean, that's what we're facing here is the propaganda machine. So, we're going to go through this story here real quick. This story is good because it kind of like it sets up this situation to where like there's a stigma, right? They've all been forced to face down this propaganda, but now they're also forced to take a look at a situation within our school systems for the medical marijuana, right? Some of these kids are actually prescribed this. Some of these kids have to actually take this medicine. So in an effort to kind of get the situation wrangled in, Pinellas County, Florida, school board has approved a plan to establish a policy regarding students using medical marijuana. Using marijuana on campus could once land you in big trouble, but as more students turn to it for medical treatment, school districts now have to set guidelines on how to administer the now legal drug. Every school district in Florida needs to make the decision in order to meet state and deadlines. So obviously they've got a situation wherein they have to make these rules up here by the next school year, I would imagine. It's a new age, and they're finding new things, and if it helps a child, why not? Asked Bernice Paracetti, who has a grandson at one of these schools. New treatments, new laws, and new ways of dealing with medicine, once forbidden in Florida schools, have to now be questioned. Maybe it's a good idea, maybe it's a bad idea. It just depends on how it's worked for the kids, said Sally Wynn. Let's see here. Hold on. Dr. David Berger with Holistic Pediatrics suggests in some cases an extended delivery system like a patch might help parents. He's also working with another school to draft their policy for medicinal marijuana. I think it's very reasonable to just take the similar approach that we take with other controlled substances. A kid just can't bring the Ritalin to school and pop it during lunch either, said Dr. Berger. What makes this tricky is while medical marijuana is legal in Florida, at the national level it's not, and schools don't want to lose out on federal funding. Well, there you go. It's all about the money, right? Once again, they don't want to lose their money. Florida school districts have until December 1st to submit a draft and until the end of the year to approve it as a set policy. The public will have a chance to speak out about the policy December 10th and the school board meeting. I got a lot of mixed reviews on this one. Everybody seemed to kind of be all over the board. Ken, what's up? Good morning, brother. Everybody was all over the board on this one. Connie, good morning. What's going on? Finally got the bugs worked out, everybody. Yeah, it's been a tough and long morning. We've almost burned through my whole bowl today. Normally I only take 1 or 2 hits with you guys, but I've almost burned all the way through it. I think everybody was kind of torn. Everybody was a little bit mixed on this story. Let me get a sip of coffee here. If you want my take on it, this humble man's opinion, I think it's a good thing that the school system is evaluating what they're doing. I think it would be a bad thing if they stuck with the stigma and put their heads in the sand and completely ignored the situation and then just continued to fine and incarcerate. So, big ups to the Pinellas County school system for looking into this. At least you're forward thinking in this way. I don't agree with much of anything else that you do. We homeschool our children. We take pride in educating them, even though it is a burden on us sometimes as far as our time schedule. But the reward, the payoff, couldn't be any better. We've got such well-adjusted kids, and they are educated and understand things and know how to learn. They truly know how to learn. They're not just being taught this senseless garbage information. They know how to learn. So anyway, I digress. Big ups for you on that, Pinellas County Schools. I'm glad you guys are looking into that and taking care of business, right? TCB. All right, and here is another propaganda story that we're going to go through. Let's take a look at this one here. Let me kick this over to you. This is one of those, another one, dun, 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 type situations. Let me go to the comments, see if you guys want to comment on that last story. Hey, good morning, Jennifer. Thanks for doing this. Yeah, you know what? I appreciate the thank you, but I don't know. Is that sarcastic? Like, thanks for like screwing you guys for the whole first, I don't know, 45 minutes of the show? No, I'm just kidding. I think when it comes to a child's medication, the school must comply. Absolutely. This is a slippery slope for me because when we start to talk about, the different things that schools should allow as far as medication, and let's throw that evil word out there. What are they? Vaccinations, right? You really start to get into an area where a lot of people have very strong opinions. So, I agree with you, Jennifer. I totally agree with you. But once again, I'm very thankful that we don't have to worry about this, and as far as our situation and our schooling for our children. So, for those of you that do have to worry about this, you need to be out there and be active and be aware of what's going on. I always encourage you to get out there and educate yourself and make sure you stay on top of this. It's your children, right? I mean, I know you don't have the time for everybody out there to educate your own children, and I'm not higher and mightier than thou. But if you can't educate them, you damn well better be there at the schools, making sure you know what's going on. These people are responsible for guiding and molding your child's life. They are the ones that, are literally taking on the situation of raising your child for a vast majority of your day, and that's hard. Some people just have to deal with that. But if you're going to have to deal with that, you need to be very active in being a part of who is doing this rearing of your child. So that's my opinion there. Just make sure you're out there and active and checking it out. But this other piece of propaganda is some real BS, some real BC, as Dwight would put it. U.S. Surgeon General adamantly opposes medical and recreational marijuana. Okay, well, it's not like we didn't see this one coming, right? I think this has been a show full of no-brainers. The first story that you didn't hear me elaborate on was the story about economists here in Florida thinking it's going to be a big deal for recreational marijuana as far as money goes. No-brainer. Well, this one here was a no-brainer. I think we all understood what's going on here. Let's read the story. As the issue of legalizing recreational marijuana in Florida lights up, haha, get it, pun, the U.S. Surgeon General is sending a warning about it. He told his peers at a medical conference in Orlando that without proper regulation and research, marijuana could become a public health problem. Now, I don't want to crucify this guy here, and I know a lot of people don't really take the time to read my posts. I'm not shaming you, but if you don't take the time to read it and you just throw a comment on there based on what you see on the title, shame on you. So you need to kind of read it. And right here, I like the language of what the Surgeon General said. He told his peers at a medical conference in Orlando that without proper regulation and research, marijuana could become a public health problem. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's true of anything, really. Any kind of drug that you're going to put out there in the market, this is true of. So on this level, I agree with him, right? So let's see if there's anything else I disagree with. Luann Clark suffers from chronic back pain, and the repercussions continue to change her life. You get that breakthrough pain that sends you all over the wall, she said. Larry Raposa, Clark's husband and an activist for marijuana legalization, said through tears that his wife has no life due to the amount of pain that she endures. She really doesn't because she is in so much pain and it's so bad, he said. Clark told WINK News that smoking medical marijuana provides an escape from the debilitating pain. Okay, now I need to go and snope this real quick and make sure Wink News isn't like some nod to like wink wink. This is why she and her husband support greater access to the drug. It affects the body in a way that you can at least cope with the situation, she said. But the U.S. Surgeon General, U.S., not Florida, U.S., Dr. Jerome Adams, fears the rapid push to legalize medical marijuana could lead to a nationwide crisis. Now, if that's the exact language of what he said, then I think we're starting to veer off and now we're heading into that propaganda and fear-mongering thing. But if this is just the way that the story was written up, I think that's a little bit slanted. I think, the guy said that it could be a health crisis, and that's possible, right? If we don't regulate and understand what it is people are putting in their bodies, for better or worse, I think we could have a problem on our hands. But to call it a nationwide crisis, I mean, now we're starting to really sensationalize it, okay? I worry that without the science to lead our public policy decisions, he said, we're going to be 20 years from now mopping up another mess. Now, I'm not defending this guy, okay? I'm not supporting or defending here. What I am simply saying is let's just look at what the quotes are. 20 years from now, we could be mopping up a mess. Look at the pill mills. I know that drug was brought to market. I don't know, but I feel like it was brought to market really to do exactly what it did, to get people strung out, to get people hooked. And I think they knew that going into it, so that drug was successful on that level. But it also, 10 to 15 years down the road became an epidemic where people were dying to the tune of 20, 30 a day in small towns, small rural towns in Indiana. So the Surgeon General isn't wrong for saying this. If we don't regulate and to get this thing under control and tested properly and make it so that there are things in place to help people and protect people, then we could be facing a big situation 20 years from now that requires a lot of over-regulation to get caught up. Over-regulation, regularization. I made up a word. Florida is one of 33 states that have legalized medical marijuana. Adams wants to see more research, and he is calling for strict regulation on who gets to use medical marijuana. I have no problem with that. That does not sit well for Luann and her husband. Okay, well, that's because, they're really pushing more for recreational use. So that way that anybody can use, right? Even if you don't have a situation that's deemed worthy. They've been researching it since the 40s, Raposa said. How much more research do you need to do? That's just that's a frustration statement, right? It works for me, and I know where it works, Clark said. So I don't think that I have some test to decide whether I want to take it or not. And I don't agree with her here. I mean, I think there needs to be testing so we make sure that we get it away from the black market hands and we have it in a situation where, I don't want it monopolized, but if that's what it takes at the moment to make sure I get a safe and legal product, it is what it is, right? But the Surgeon General has his supporters, including a Fort Myers anesthesiologist. And I thought this was completely random. Like, who cares who this random anesthesiologist is? The anesthesiologist says, I agree that there needs to be more education done on CBD and marijuana in general. Yeah, no duh. Joe Kapla said, but regulations need to be opened up so these studies can occur. There you go. These guys are all saying the same thing. Regulation, regulation, regulation. There's also a push in Florida to make recreational marijuana legal. However, the Surgeon General is firmly against that too. Well, they don't quote him as what he said that's firmly against that. So this story was out of WINK News. I don't know how reputable they are. I just thought it was interesting. I like to post these stories because if we keep an eye on what's going on the national level, I think we'll all be more ready and prepared on a state level and have an idea of what's coming at us. So I don't know. I don't know exactly how credible or reliable this story is, but they didn't quote the Surgeon General a lot of times, and they just kind of inferred a lot of things from what he said. So once again, if you just kind of cursorily looked at the title of this, you got outraged. And I hope you don't do that. I hope you take the time to go in and read the darn story. They're not that long. I don't post novels. They're a 3 or 4 minute read. They give you an idea and an insight into things, and then you for yourself can dissect these stories and really take it all in, okay? That's the object here. Educate yourself. Read through the propaganda. Is there propaganda there? Is there a twist to the story? We all need to start becoming more aware of this. Stop looking at the titles. Start reading the stories. Yeah, there's a lot of garbage in there, and we have to sift through it. There was a lot of propaganda in here, but I think we got through it, and I think you can get through it too. Head over to my Facebook page. Check this one out. I think you'll like it. Let's head over and see if anybody else has joined us. Let's go on down here. All right, Jennifer says he can oppose it, but the will of the people will supersede him. I agree. If the people finally get on board and connected with each other, I agree with that. Nationwide crisis is, yeah, definitely with the opioids. That's right. Okay, anesthesiologists are tuned into this because cannabis affects anesthesia, studies in Colorado show. Okay, cool. I will look into that, and that seems totally legit. A lot of these doctors and, people that do these type of specialties don't want to see their industry disappear, so I get it. I totally understand that. All right, now it is time for us to move into the final moment of the day, and that is the time I think that you all come for. That's the title of the show, and it is our strain review.
Members only, when only the best will do. Members only, when you put it on, something happens to you.
Here we go. I don't know if you guys caught the little pun there. Memberberry. Memberberry is what we're looking at today. And for my little meme, you kind of see how I mixed berries into members only, right? When I got this, for some reason, members only. I really wasn't even old enough to enjoy that era in clothing. Apparently, it looked fun. Their slogan is when you put it on, something happens to you. So in my meme, clearly, right, when you smoke it, something happens, right? Here we are. We are at the strain review for the day, and normally I go to Leafly. And there's a couple other sites I like to check, but Leafly just didn't have a very good write-up on this, and I'm not sure if that's because it's more specific to our area here in Florida. But regardless, I am going to bring you this little dabber here from Canna SOS. Member Berry Cannabis Strain. All right. Member Berry is an evenly balanced hybrid bred by the masters at Ethos Genetics. This strain is known for its tarty and fruity flavors. Its aroma is sweet and citrusy. The plant boasts beautiful and dense green buds. Its long-lasting and mellow effects can help treat depression, headaches, appetite loss, and stress. Member Berry strain is recommended for daytime and nighttime use. All right, well, let's move over here for just a second. Let's see here. It says that it's beautiful, dense green buds. Well, you tell me what you think. I mean, I'd say that that's a pretty healthy nug right there. It looked really pretty, and when I opened the jar, it was awesome. It was just one of these huge nugs. It was one huge nug with nary a big stem in between. It was just a nice, beautiful, crystallized nug in there. It smelled terrific. It's definitely got a sweet and citrusy aroma. And I will say that the effects, not long-lasting, but for me, they still are pretty good. I still like to, the sativas for me don't really get me there. It's the indicas. For those of you that have watched the show, it's been a long while since I reviewed an indica because I just can't get my hands on one. But you know that I like the effects of the indica more. But I liked this nug. This Member Berry was really, really good. I think personally that it smoked very smooth. Let's get to the type of high here. Let's transition back. Member Berry Cannabis Strain gives a strong cerebral and body high. It starts with a euphoric boost that will make you happy and you will giggle at anything. I don't know about that. I'm really not much of a giggler here in my older age. In this euphoria, you become very hungry. Yeah, okay, maybe a little bit. Afterwards, you are very relaxed. I am very relaxed. It has definitely helped with bringing my anxiety down from the massive blunders that took place during this show. But once again, we soldier on. We keep going. I don't quit. Okay. The genetics, breeder, Ethos Genetics, strain lineage. Member Berry strain cannabis strain comes from a cross between skunkberry and mandarin sunset strains. Let's see. The average THC or CBD level, 24.00 whatever to 28%. Well, let's take a look at the numbers that I've got on the jar. Here we go. Let's transition over here. As you can see from my numbers, the THC is 20.3%. No CBD, no CBN, some CBG, a little THCV, for a total of 21.1, 710.5 milligrams. Yeah, you know what? I don't like to go by the numbers. I'm not a person that buys strains based on THC content. If you've watched the show before, we did a write-up on this. We've done stories on this. We've had commentary on this. Don't just go by the numbers. The numbers don't suggest anything other than what is in that. But really, it's more about what the THC and CBD, CBN, what all of that does for you, how it interacts inside your system. So, you might get something that's 15.3%, and it might knock you on your butt, whereas somebody else needs, something different. So it's all about your body chemistry. It's all about how the marijuana works with you. That's why you're encouraged to try just about everything out there. And that's why I do these little strain reviews, albeit subjective material. I try to keep it to the numbers and to the science and information that's out there. I sprinkle in my own little opinion, but you guys are more than welcome to try these things for yourself and to gauge it with your own opinion. All right, let's see what else Canna SOS has to say. The positive effects, hungry, right? Is that a positive effect? Because they call it hangry at a certain point, so I don't know. When does it cease to become a positive effect? Happy, giggly, giggly more so for men. No, not in my case. Relaxed, yes. Uplifted, Negative effects, always dry mouth, but less for women. Lazy and tingly. So now tingly, I guess, is a negative side effect. The flavor profile, lemon, lime, and pine. Sure, I think that that's true. And then it goes into the different type of medical conditions and stuff that it's good for, grow information. Canna SOS, awesome. Big ups to you guys for providing this week's strain review. And, I hope all of you out there have tried the Member Berry. I think that it's a really good strain. I think that it's very tasty. I like the way that it's smoked. I like the way that it kind of made me feel. I'm going to go to the comments here and see if you guys had any idea or any thoughts on it. Jennifer is just killing it today. Definitely do. It's interesting what they're finding because of recreational. Yep, back to that. Maria, what's up? Yes, strain of the day. Yeah, some people really like this strain, and I'm really glad that you do. I really like it. Trulieve really hasn't let me down. And let me tell you something else. As far as the weight on this product, it came in the regular jar. But as far as the weight on this, it was 3.82. I encourage all of you to go out and buy yourself a little $5 scale. You can get them on Amazon. Just make sure it measures grams. Just here, I've got one right here. Let me show you kind of what it is. Let me see if I can go back to my, let me go back to my main screen. Well, I'm here already, but let me kind of show you what it is. It's just a small little digital scale here. Okay. That's it. And, it comes with a little top plate here. And essentially what you do is you take this top plate off, and it's got a little metal plate right there. That's what's the actual weighing portion. And then you put your little top plate on there like this, okay? Let me scoot it back a bit. And then you mess with the buttons, okay? That are right here. I got to do all this backwards because of the camera. But you put your butt on top of there and you weigh it. Trulieve has been totally awesome about their weights. This weighed out to 3.82. If you've never been a person who's dealt in the black market marijuana scene or know much about distributing that or anything, not that I have any idea, but you know how to weigh things and you know what things are supposed to weigh. And let me tell you, when you get a black market sack, for the most part, unless you know the guy or are really getting hooked up, you're getting shorted. You're going to get 3.4, some cases 3.3. And, I've met a lot of people who are just, that's what they think an eighth is. And it's not. An eighth is 3.5 grams. Well, Trulieve has, habitually given me jars that are, over 3.5 grams. This one, 3.82. I don't know about you, but that's an overage, and that's awesome that they do it that way. They pack enough in there when they put it in there to prevent the shrinkage from happening, which, as some black market dealers know, you always get shrinkage from when you buy the product to when you finally sell out of the product. It loses weight because it dries out. So it's imperative that what you purchase move quickly. Because you don't want to lose weight. But I guess Trulieve has decided to do the right thing in this case and, make sure that they put plenty of product inside of their jar. So big ups to Trulieve on that. I give credit where credit is due. I am no shill, but I give credit where credit is due. And you guys are due credit there. So awesome on them. Back to the comments here real quick. Kristen, yes, Member Berries, awesome. Nice nug. Yeah, it was a really nice nug. I thought it was really cool they threw that big nug in there. You just don't get that all the time. My Trulieve products are always way over in weight, from 3.8 to 4.5. Yeah, I had a buddy the other day who said that he had gotten 5. He got a 5 gram eighth out of there before. So I don't know if that's BS, big fish story or not, but it's really nice of them to do that. They don't have to. They could be the big corporate monster that we paint them out to be and be shorting everybody, right? Just in addition to whatever else, because hey, it is a cost-cutting measure, right? The less you give us, the more you have to pack into another jar. So, big ups on them for doing that, and whatevs. I thought that was pretty cool of them. So get out there, try Member Berry, whoever has it. I know Trulieve has that, but give it a shot no matter where it's at, even if you find it at a place like Three Boys Farm, because they seem to have like different types of products and similar products. So, get out there and try it. Try everything. Low and slow, that's what we preach here, but get out there and try everything. All right, now we are going to move on to a little bit of business here. This is business for the Best Buds events and adventures. And for all of you who joined us last Friday at our first event, I believe it was last Friday, It was a really cool event. We actually had a tropical storm move in. It seems like anytime I do anything for this show or for my other group, like today, it was basically a technical tropical storm that happened. So, anything, anytime, but this event, was my first event, and of course a tropical storm moves in. So I really wanted a lot more of you members out there that are members in the group that are patients to show up, but that didn't really happen. But what did happen was a lot of industry people showed up, and it was a really huge success. It turned out to be a very big networking type event. Well, in doing that, I was able to really look over what worked and what didn't work. And I'll tell you that going forward, these events are going to be completely different from anything that's going on in the market today. It is not going to be, the green carpet events. It's not going to be the Seattle Hemp Fest. It's not going to be any of that stuff, because I think all of that is played out. And something that we as Floridians really value here is originality. We are one of the crazier states in the nation, us in Ohio, but we are definitely all about being from here and being original. And this is our state, right? So in an effort to do that, I've decided to craft these events in a little bit different way. And I think you're going to like it. I think you guys are really going to like it. So here is the event graphic for the coming event, which is going to be November 15th. It's out at Bay Pines Marina. It's the Master... I'm spacing on the name right now. It's a little tiki restaurant that's actually on the water there at the marina. So it's going to be open air, and there's more details to that. But it's going to be an event that you're not going to want to miss, right? Because it's like I said, it's going to be different from everything else. So here's the event graphic. Best Buds Events and Adventures presents Giving Back Meet and Greet. What? It is a food drive and meet and greet. That's right. This one is different from the other meet and greets because we are going to do a food drive. Now, I believe I'm going to hook up with Metropolitan Ministries unless we have, stronger feelings out there about another project. But, what I want to do is the admittance for everybody to get in, the entry fee for everyone to get into this event will be to bring some food for these people that are hungry. Thanksgiving is especially one of those times of year where we need to go out of our way to be thankful, and we need to go out of our way to give, because to truly receive, you have to give, okay? And that's what Best Buds is all about. It was about initially starting up to give people a place that are patients that don't have a place to go, and to hang out and to be with each other and do things. So, that is the essence of what Best Buds Events and Adventures is all about. And that's what we're going to do. So no charge, if you caught that, basically. There's no charge to attend this event, whether you are a medical marijuana patient or whether you are the spouse or loved one of the medical marijuana patient, or whether you are just a supporter and activist for medical marijuana. All of you are welcome to come. I want all of you to be there. There's no way I would ever think of charging you. Again, I'm sorry for that, and I shouldn't have. It was really against what I wanted to do as far as my, my heart side, my head side said, hey, there should be some kind of fee for things. I was advised to charge fees for things, but you know what? That's what these major monthly events are going to be about. It's going to be about getting together and doing something, positive for each other, whether it's just hanging out or whether it's doing something like a food drive and giving back to the community. And once again, too, this is a good thing on the medical marijuana community, right? We want to paint a face that's breaking the stigma on this thing. We want people to understand that we are all about making sure that good happens, not reefer madness, okay? So show up, even if you're just in support of medical marijuana and you don't use medical marijuana. Show up. It's free. Bring some food. Give. Truly give. Do something good, right? Oh, there it is. The name of the place, right? That's how good this member berry is. I didn't remember the name of the place, and it's on the flyer. Where? It's at the Harbor Master Tiki Grill. This is in St. Petersburg again. It's my home area. It's where we got to do a couple of these events just to get things kicked off. But once again, if you're familiar with the area, it's at the Bay Pines Marina, and that's where you can find that. Just Google Harbor Master Tiki Grill. I had people actually ask me the location. I didn't want to fill the sheet up with addresses. So, if you can't figure it out, Google Harbor Master Tiki Grill in St. Petersburg, and you'll find it. Once again, it's November 15th, 7:30 to 10 p.m. Thank goodness for this coffee this morning. So good. And once again, it is free for all as long as you bring a food donation. I want everybody there. Brothers, sisters, grandmothers, aunts, uncles, all of you. Come out, even if it's just to support a food drive that's trying to feed, homeless and hungry people out there. There's so many people in our country that are homeless and hungry. Some of them just hungry, but we need to fight that hunger. We need to reach out, and not just in Thanksgiving time, but it happens to be that time of the year. So I really want you all to come out. I'm hooking up with. So here's a change, right? Here's a difference from what we have traditionally done. Let me shoot over the comments here real quick. Kristen, awesome. I'm glad you're going to make it to the next event. Yeah, you know what? Whatever happened, kiddo's sick, weather bad, it's no big deal. I don't chastise anybody for these events, and the people that show up happen exactly the way they're supposed to happen, right? I don't get some kind of way or some hurt feelings about that. I don't take that personally. I believe that success is a mindset, and that these are going to be successful because I've determined them to be successful, and because I've determined to give you value. That's what it's all about, people. It's all about providing value. If you provide value, value will be provided back to you. So that's what we're doing here. We're providing value. And, I want you all to get out to the next event. It's going to be a little bit different, right? It's going to be, I've added on that sheet, it says, and so much more. So here's one of the major differences. I've noticed that when people set up at events, the green carpet events and every other event like it, it's so like stuffy and stuffed shirt. One of the major things that was a success about ours is that it happened in a venue that was a little smaller, which forced everybody to be together, and it forced everybody to really talk to each other because there was no room to run and hide. And we didn't have a bunch of vendor tables clogging up the space. It wasn't like you felt like you had to go in there and have this, like going into a head shop, right? When you go into a smoke shop, you got to use the medical lingo. You got to use the right talk or you're going to get tossed out. And I think a lot of people view these meet and greets and things like that, these get-togethers in the same way, where you kind of got to, the dispensary's there, I got to use the right lingo and the right language so I don't look like an idiot. I feel like there's a lot of pressure there. So in an effort to take away that pressure, one of the big things that we're going to do that's completely different from anything else going on out there is we are going to not have dispensaries show up. That's right. You heard it. Not have dispensaries show up. True Leave, you're uninvited. Move, uninvited. Rise, uninvited. So anyway, I determined to do that actually in a really weird time, because immediately after I determined to do that, I had a call from a dispensary, VitaCann, somebody that was really cool person there, and we're going to work with them actually in the future for some different things. But I had to tell them that, the original point of the conversation was to show up to this event, but, obviously she contacted me weeks after I decided that. And I had to tell her, through this conversation on the phone that we weren't going to have dispensaries out, which I think kind of perplexed her. So, I don't mean to be mean. And for all of you that weren't privy to that conversation, I'm not going to have dispensaries there because I just want to get away from that feeling of these things being overly clinical. I want you to come and be relaxed and have fun. It's about getting out and meeting people. It's about getting out and having a good time. It doesn't need to be about hooking up or anything like that, or getting drunk or partying, but, it's about our community coming together. We are all in this boat together. Medical marijuana patients, spouses and friends of, and people in the profession. We're all in this boat together. So we should be out supporting each other and taking care of each other and making sure that everybody is educated and on par with what's going on and are up on the laws and the legalities, so that we're not negligent when we go out and do certain things. So, in an effort to do that, dispensaries, I'm sorry, you are uninvited to these events. These events are, you can come, right? You can show up. If you have representatives like Jillian, who's a manager over at VitaCann, you are more than welcome to attend. I want you to be there. I want you to see the movement. I want you to see the people in action, interacting with each other and just having a great time, and having it not be about, going there and pitching your product. So that's the first major change. No more dispensaries at these events. So if that was your only reason for coming, I'm sorry, they're not going to be there. But if you want to come and just have a really great time and just kick it with no real agenda for a couple hours with some like-minded people, then this is going to be for you. This is going to be the place to be. Also, a new development will be that I will no longer be allowing vendors at these events. And it's for the very same exact reason. We don't need to go into this too far. I love the vendors. I had Chris Hayes from Chief Sticks show up. I love the fact that he showed up. I'm so happy that he came out. But he almost seemed like he had a much better time networking and hanging out. And for the betterment of him and even his position with Chief Sticks, I think it would be better if he didn't have to stand at a table and just explain his product and become, a fixture at the event, as opposed to somebody that's there to be talked to. So I don't mean to offend anybody here with this, and I know that this basically is almost defunding the whole project, right? Because how am I going to fund all this? Well, we're going to figure that out later. It's not about the money. It's about the people. And, the events will work themselves out. If they are meant to be, if we are all meant to get together, which I think that we are, the money will work itself out. But vendors, once again, uninvited. And I'm really sorry to do that. I don't mean to sound crass, but that's just going to be what it's going to be. Now, here are some positives. I'm going to be hooking up with the different dispensaries to get swag bags. And what we're going to do is we are going to hand out these swag bags through giveaways. So you're going to get an opportunity, to win a True Leave bag that's got a True Leave hat and shirt. So if you're a fan of True Leave in general, if you come out there, you're going to get an opportunity to get that giveaway. VitaCan's working on something for me. Move's going to be working on something for me. So I'm going to try to get these little swag bags, and you don't have to purchase, there you go. You don't have to purchase a ticket for this, okay? I'm not charging you for this. No way, right? We're going to keep this thing free as can be. Outside of the drinks and the food, which are going to be something you have to pay for if you want them, these events are going to be as free to the bone as possible, at least for the foreseeable future. So I want you guys to get comfortable with the idea that, we are really trying to give you something great, a really awesome thing that you can be a part of. You can hang out with friends that smoke and hang out with friends that don't. It's everybody being together, one mind, one purpose. So there you go. You're going to get entry into these little giveaways for absolutely nothing. This event's entry, you're going to have to, once again, bring the food for the drive. But as long as you do that, you're going to get entry into the giveaways as well, which will be going on. I'm going to work with Chief Sticks and other people to make sure we have samples. I wouldn't mind having him, hand out samples throughout the place and allowing you guys to talk to him on a one-on-one basis. I think that would be really cool idea for how we can do vendors around the place. So we're going to kick that idea around. So Chris, don't get upset. We've got something for you. We're going to figure it all out. Okay, buddy? But it's going to be all about giving things away and working through it that way. And, once again, you're going to see this graphic a lot, and you're going to see other graphics. We are not the same thing as everyone else, and I apologize for taking us down that road initially. We're just not the same thing. We're something completely different. We're a group that's more about being together and helping each other than about the almighty dollar and chasing down profits. So I want you guys to really contemplate coming out to this, even if you got to stretch a little bit with the travel. This isn't about me. This isn't about you. This is about giving back. This is about making sure that the people are going to get fed for Thanksgiving, at least us doing our part. So I don't care about the numbers. What happens, happens, and everything is always a success because no matter what happens, it was preordained to be that way. And I believe that you guys are going to show up in a big way. You're going to come out and you're going to give and give and give, and it's going to be returned to you, and you're going to see that people out there that were hungry are going to be fed. And, what better way to enjoy your own Thanksgiving dinner than to know that, hey, because you gave a little bit, because you took a little bit out of your time and your wallet, somebody else is going to get to have a full tummy on Thanksgiving. And the big softy in me says that that's just the right thing to do. So I really hope you all can make it out to this event. It's going to be really, really, really awesome and fun. I don't have the next graphic up for what I want to talk about here, but the other thing I want to discuss is we are going to be doing our very first adventure, right? So it's Best Buds Events and Adventures. We are going to be doing our very first adventure. I am looking to do that January 1st of 2020. It's a super ambitious time frame, but I really want to get it hooked up. I believe that what we're going to do is a scavenger hunt in the city of St. Petersburg. It's not way too out of the way to do. I think it's like 1.5 miles to 2 miles worth of walking. It's going to be really fun, super exciting, super interactive. You have to use your cell phones. You'll have to check in. There's point systems. What we're going to do is we're going to sign up teams for this. We'll get a bunch of rates for for teams that sign up. But basically, you can have between 2 and I believe it was 5 people in a team. Each participant, it costs $15. Once again, this is not an event that I'm throwing as Best Buds. This is actually, we've got to go and we're going to charter a company to do this for us. Hopefully it'll be a company that we work with because they have sites all around the U.S. that they do this in, scavenger hunts all over the state. So, this is a company that we want to show big support to. When we go, we want to make sure, we provide them with a courteous experience. We want to make sure that we are discreet with our vaping because this will be a vape-only event unless you feel like you can sneak a toke of some flour somewhere along the way. This would be considered a vape-only event, and you wouldn't be able to vape in all the different inside locations, but I'm sure along your scavenger hunt you can sneak a vape in. But this, is going to be a really fun adventure. I looked it up. It's totally awesome, totally interactive. Get your teams together. Once again, it's $15 a person. The teams can be between 2 and 5 people. What I'm going to need for you to do is go into the Best Buds Events and Adventures members or group page, which you can find on the Best Buds page. If you scroll down a little bit from the top, I need you to become a member. Just request to become a member. I will approve you. You will see the post about this. And then I need you to start reaching out in the comments section of this post with your team number, how many team people you want to be there or whatever. It's going to be really awesome. Let's make it big. Let's get out and let's show the state that we're doing something really cool and exciting. I can't wait for this, and I'm telling you guys, the more and more we show these places and these locations a discreet, responsible smoking out of the people, the more and more they're going to get comfortable with the idea of allowing us to do it. So, in an effort to be on top of our game, we're going to do this event or this adventure here in January, and I hope you all come out. I will be posting a lot more about it. Don't worry if you can't find that post right now. The most important part is becoming a member of that group, Best Buds Events and Adventures, because that's where I post all of the updates to everything that's going on, okay? So it's imperative that you get over there and do that. And that is really, that does it for the show today. I'm going to check the comments here. I think everybody's kind of quieted down. All right. Well, yeah, it was a strange day. Once again, I feel like I spoke the badness into being. Facebook kicked my feed to start the show. And then I had to reboot the whole thing. And I did, and it was disjointed looking and crazy looking. And you got stories, that were just me basically talking at the camera with no audio for the first few minutes. It was disjointed and terrible. And for all of those of you that stick with me on these morning runs, I appreciate it. It's been an onslaught for the last couple weeks, most of it not being my fault. My technical side is usually on point. I prep the night before to make sure everything is running and proper, and then I get up 2 hours before the show to make sure everything's running and proper. So that's my Friday night, folks. I don't spend it out and about. I don't spend it out getting it on or whatever, but I spend it prepping for you guys. So, the volume issue was mine. I'm sorry. For those of you that stuck with me this morning, I'm big ups to you. You guys are awesome. You're the true fans. I appreciate you. I think we're going to change the time up on the show. I'm going to end the show with this thought. Comment what you think would maybe be a better time. I think evening time is going to be better, but Saturday evening is complicated because people are, still heading out. It's still a weekend night. So what do we do here, right? Friday night seems to be a weekend night, so that might be out. And really, you don't want to do something not at the end of the week because you miss stories and headlines. So maybe Thursday night, I don't know, sometime around 7 or something. I don't know. We're going to have to consider it and look at it because I want to have more interaction between me and you guys. I want to make sure this show is completely interactive and that you understand your comments and your voice will be heard here. So we'll kick around the time. We'll figure that out. Maria, thank you, and I appreciate you for being here. I really do. I couldn't do it without you guys sharing these things and joining me early in the morning. I really couldn't. Thank you to everybody for doing what you do and just being awesome. You guys are awesome. Remember that. Don't get it twisted. No matter what you've been through, no matter what's going on, no matter what's currently going on, life is not about what you see. It is about what you feel on the inside. And if you feel secure, feel safe, you feel medicated, you feel good, that is going to be what has to eventually show up on the outside. So it's all about feeling. You need to feel it. Feel good, feel great, feel wonderful, feel the success, and be the person that you were meant to be. I love you, Best Buds. Take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend. Thank you for joining me. I will be at you all this week and next Saturday.